Well, good evening. Let's see, I think this is set right for short people, right? Can you hear me? I am Linda O'Brien, and I am running for the State Republican Central Committee. I was born in Elyria, Ohio. I'm the youngest of three children, and my mother, God rest her soul, raised the three of us by herself, teaching us and mentoring us critical core values. The ones that resonated with me and stayed with me through all my years were honor God, always tell the truth, and work hard. They became the cornerstones to my life, and because of that, my life is somewhat like the American dream come true. I went from being a very poor young child to being someone who is well educated. I have a bachelor's degree from Ursuline College and a master's degree from Case Western Reserve in organizational development. I had a 15-year run in my corporate life. 8 of those years was with Progressive Insurance. And we had a saying at Progressive that 1 year was the equivalent of a dog's life year. So after 56 years in dog's life, I decided to go out on my own. At that time, 26 years ago, I moved to Geauga County. I've been living in Russell Township ever since. And I went into my independent business consulting career. It has sustained me very well. It's helped with being a single mom with my daughter and raising her. It gave me a lot of flexibility. So over the years, it was my daughter, me, a collection of critters over there in Russell. And now I have to tell you that I'm very proud that I have this 5-year-old granddaughter who's the love of my life. But so that's a little bit about Linda O'Brien. Those core values that my mother taught me are so critical because in my business as a consultant, I help other businesses be more successful through their people. And what I've learned and been able to apply is that in any part of our lives, we need to be able to have a vision. From our vision, we set goals. From our goals, we measure results. And lastly, we hold people accountable. 2 years ago, I was up on this platform talking to you about running for the Ohio State rep position that Sarah LaTourette won. I came into that race late, and so I was a write-in candidate. Now, I will tell you, I did not win that seat, as Scott mentioned. However, it was a great win because of you and your support, that the votes that were recorded for that particular race were the highest for any write-in candidate in Northeast Ohio from the beginning of time. So at the same time, I did run for the Geauga Central Committee, Russell Precinct B. And I've been on that committee for the last 2 years, being a strong conservative voice and doing my best to hold those individuals accountable. It hasn't been easy, I will tell you. The leadership in that committee is very autocratic. They are very divisive, and they are downright controlling. So, dealing with that for the past 2 years, I looked for a model that might be something to pattern ourselves after in a more positive way. That model that I looked at was the State Central Committee, and I was appalled. I didn't see, participative leadership. I saw harassing of the conservative members of that group. I saw bullying, like it was appalling the way they were treating their people. And from what I'm hearing and from what they say, that group has refused over and over and over to set a party platform. Now circle back to what I started with. You need a vision. From that you get goals. From that you have performance measurement. And lastly, you're held accountable. They have no platform, and therefore they have no accountability, folks. And that has got to be fixed. It's a huge problem. They're down there serving themselves instead of serving you and I. So when I told my friends I decided to run for State Central Committee, I have to tell you, they said, Linda, what are you doing this for? And I want to tell you, one, it's not for the money. Two, it isn't because it's fun, because it isn't. But I am committed to help restore America, folks. I love this country, and I love it for a lot of different reasons, but I know that God's hand is all over this country, and I am willing to serve Him by serving this country. Now, I want you to know a few things about me so that you absolutely know who you're voting for. Number one, I'm pro-life. Number two, I strongly stand against Common Core. Number three, I'm a financial conservative, and I've had my concealed carry license since 2009. So I think you know where I stand on that. I am unwilling to accept any more empty political promises. And the bullying and controlling of our political leaders must stop. Now, if you think I'm talking theoretically, I'm going to prove to you that I'm not. After Sarah won her race in 2014, her father, Steve LaTourette, took out a full-page ad. This is it. Cost over $1,400. I'd be happy to have you look at it. Basically what it says is that Linda O'Brien is a moron. Actually, he said I was an oxymoron, but short on oxy. How's that? And that I was a loser. Okay? And now let me just regress for a minute. I'm going to give you another example, but I have to give you a little bit of backdrop. I took an unscheduled trip to Kenya in November. I slept in an orphanage for 2 weeks. I went over there to try to help them untangle a very big legal mess that has stopped the funding for 80 children. I will confess, my eye was off the target for a while. And if I had to do it again, I would still focus on Kenya and not this race. It was that important to me. But when I went just a couple of days ago to refocus my website, and I called GoDaddy, she said, well, Mrs. O'Brien, your domain name has been purchased. And I said, really? I'm thinking, who does that? And who would want to be called Linda J. O'Brien if they weren't Linda J. O'Brien? So she said to me, do you know a Scott Kaiser? I said, yes, I do. And she says to me, well, he must really like your name because he bought it in a couple different formats. So before I came up here, I asked him, what are you going to do with my domain name? And you know what he said? It's common practice. Folks, let me tell you something. That's the problem with the Republican Party today. It's common practice to be corrupt. It's common practice to be a bully. And it's common practice to do whatever you want that is self-serving and not serving the people. So I'm here to tell you that I'm here to help restore America. And this morning, as I was doing some time sitting and talking with God, I have to tell you, it was astounding to me. I opened it up. You could come and see yourself. January 19th. The heading, Stand Firm. The bottom paragraph says, and I want to read this to you, God does not promise physical victory in every confrontation, but He does expect faithfulness and commitment to Him. If you are being being opposed in your desire to please God, clothe yourself in God's armor and stand firm. I'm standing up here taking on this fight. I'm not going to run from it. I'm running to it. And I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for your kids. I'm doing it for your grandkids. And I'm doing it for all of those people who suffered and sacrificed over these past 200 plus years to give us freedom and liberty for all. And that means all. So I thank you. I hope you'll vote for me. It's Linda J. O'Brien without a website.